Alright, this is an updated video to give credit to 12-volt Neutron. I was trying to follow him, but I did not follow him to the exact period. So it took me a few weeks to figure out that I should have followed him. So let's start from scratch. We are trying to add a tilt sensor and a shock sensor to a factory alarm. Particularly, we have a 2005 Prius right today, and today is 8/31/20, probably a Monday, close to 10:30 p.m. at night. We've already installed it. It is in here now. This is the tilt sensor, and this is the shock sensor. You can see it's on. If I tap on it, there, it just turned green, so it's live. The pod is flashing, and if you hit this button, it turns off. And let's just kind of see it work before we talk. So I'm gonna arm it. You see my other videos that the shock sensor works. You just haven't seen the tilt sensor work. And since it's reaching 11 p.m. and my neighbors are sleeping, I'm just gonna activate the alarm once. So you can see that the factory alarm is about to turn on, probably about a few more seconds. And that's the tilt sensor there. And so once it's on, I'm going to hold on to the alarm. And some reason the proximity sensor turned on because I am close to the car. All right, so there, I'm gonna grab that soon. And here comes the tilt sensor. There you go. It's on. Turned it off. And I can assure you the shock sensor will work. So here's the whole gist of the wiring. So if you want to do this to your car, you can follow these instructions. But pretty much anytime you see blue, anytime you see blue, these blue, and this blue, tie it together. Tie the shock sensor, the tilt sensor, very close to the shock sensor. So there's going to be a pod. So there's going to be your car, there's going to be a pod, and then there's going to be the shock sensor. Tie this very close to the shock sensor. There must be some kind of resistor or diodes inside the pod that helps this tilt sensor from frying up. As you can see, I have well, you don't see, but I have 3 bat tilt sensors at $30 a piece. If you buy this on eBay, it can be as low as $15. The pod and the shock sensor is about $30. If you buy it without the pod, there's the pod there, and it'll probably be $15. But I highly recommend getting it with the pod so you can use the tilt sensor on particularly like 05 Prius that gets their cat stolen. And this cat has been stolen, and I put it back another one. So here goes the guts of it. When you install, you're gonna find a on Japanese cars, it's a door switch that gives out negative ground. So you follow this negative ground on this 05 Prius, you're gonna find 2 wires coming out. One of them is the one that you want. How do you test? You put a negative to it, and then the factory alarm will come on. Or if you put your test light to positive and you touch it, it will glow, and you press this, it will turn off. And now, for this Prius, you're going to need a 12-volt source, and that means constant 12 volt. And I found the constant 12 volts being here. This connector here, 1, 2, 3, 4 is green wire, that's constant. And then up here, you find a pink wire, 1, 2, 3, 4 down pink, that's with the key. And then ground, I grabbed it from here. So now this is feeding the pod. So this is the pod. I cleaned up the car so it's a lot easier to understand. So the pod has a harness, and this is the red of the pod, and this is constant. The yellow is with the key, and that's going to the pink wire. And then finally, it comes out with an orange wire, or sorry, the blue wire. The blue wire is going to go into the car, and anytime this blue wire sees the ground, then the factory alarm is going to turn on. Now, when you get your tilt sensor, like so, there might be a different model, newer already, but this tilt sensor is wired T-tapped it into here. So in the future cars, I'm going to be welding, but this one I'm going to be T-tapping since I've already picked T-tap. And you can see that the colors match. So this is coming from the tilt sensor on the right, and blue is going to blue, orange is going to orange, and red is going to red. And if you don't do it like this, and you connect this blue off the tilt sensor directly into the car, for some reason, it fries it. This guy cannot handle the amperage or the current of the ground that's being pulled. However, the shock sensor can, somehow going through the pod. So that's that. A couple weeks and probably like $100 worth of these tilt sensor. Here's the lesson learned. Follow a 12-volt neutron to the exact period and it'll work. There's this other guy on YouTube that's adding a shock sensor with the relay. You don't need it. I've just added the relay. Yes, it works, but it's not easy. So don't need to add a relay. So I'm trying to mass produce this to my other car, so I'm trying to do it the most simplest way, because if I add a relay, it's going to be more complex. So I finally found out, and you don't even need a diode. But I did try to do a diode. It does work. The silver side of the diode goes towards the pod to save it. So if you want to put a diode this way, so the diode goes to the pod or to the shock sensor, the silver side again is facing the pod and the tilt sensor, away is facing to the car, and then the diode will work. I don't know why would you need a diode anymore, but I just decided to let you know. So now this pod here is flashing. If you tilt the light down, it's solid. That means the stock sensor won't come on and the tilt sensor won't come on. So you're gonna have to mount this somewhere so the person has access to it, or you can just hide it and just tell them that it exists. Now that's the whole gist of this installation. It's about 8 minutes now, and again, this is an updated video from my other videos, so this will be the final video for this 05 Prius, and it works. Kind of grateful, and what else? That is about it. I added some insta fuses up there. It is backwards. With the insta fuses, I wasn't able to put this cover on because I added like a radar detector and a backup camera, so they're kind of using a lot of power. I didn't want to just tap off of this thing. I didn't know really like what this thing is, and didn't want to pull that much power off of it in case something else goes bad. But the insta fuse on this makes it so the cover cannot come on. So I can grind off the cover, but then I'm missing the information. I might just drill a hole through it and put a tie wrap and let it hang around so the next person can have access to it. Or do something to it. Oh, there's already a hole here. So maybe put some type of tie wrap here and tie wrap it so it dangles out so people can get access to it. So that's that. Anything else I want to say? Oh, so this green wire, from other videos, you don't use it. 12-volt neutron said that it's like a preliminary trigger to an aftermarket alarm, just so it can like warn people. but he said that the original alarms, OEM alarms, don't use this wire. So afterwards, just cut it and tape it up. And that is about it. Thanks for watching.